Welcome to Appletini, where the inbox is on fire and the robots are sorting it. Email used to be annoying. Now it has evolved into a full ecosystem where AI writes the spam, AI filters the spam, and somehow you still have to find the 10 messages that actually matter. It is absurd, a little impressive, and honestly kind of the whole software story right now. The big shift started when cloud code platforms made it easy to crank out endless AI-crafted outreach at scale. And the creepy part is, these messages are good enough to sound human at first glance, which means the old dumb filters do not save you. The quality on average is still pretty weak. You get a lot of fake warmth, a lot of borrowed tone, a lot of name dropping, and then some completely unrelated pitch lands in your lap. But here is the trap. Buried in all that sludge are real opportunities, and missing even 10 genuinely valuable pitches in a day would hurt. So the goal is not reading everything. The goal is building a system that finds the gems and yeets the rest into archive, spam, or the great digital abyss. This is where the workflow gets very 2026, very fast. AI assistants are doing triage on routine mail before a human even has to care. Stuff like test flight emails gets archived automatically, release notes get extracted, and daily summary reports get generated so you can scan app changes without babysitting your inbox. They are also using agents to scan lists of new senders and spot patterns. If an email opens with flattering references and then swerves into an unrelated offer, that is a huge tell. That kind of pattern flagging cuts inbox load by more than half, which feels less like a nice productivity gain and more like basic survival. And importantly, it is not one magic filter. It is built-in screening plus external agents working together, with the noisy stuff getting buried and the promising stuff summarized for quick review. One of the more interesting tools in this setup is Spark, because Spark does something that instantly makes software nerds perk up. It maps UI actions to command-line commands. That means when you do something in the app, there is a CLI-shaped version of that action, which opens the door to scripting, automation, and handing control over to agents. That is a real workflow feature, not just an AI Sparkle sticker slapped on an email client. Spark also has built-in AI screening already, so you can combine its native filtering with outside tools like Claude or Codex and build a pretty ruthless intake pipeline. There is also a very funny but very useful idea here, the vibe coding spectrum. On one end, you have apps that scream AI generated from the second you open them, dark generic UI, walls of text, that same over-explained energy, maybe an icon that looks like it was produced during a power outage. On the other end, you get products with real polish, custom icons, actual humor, thoughtful documentation, and a sense that a human being cared. And that matters because the app and the pitch tend to match. If the presentation is thoughtful, the odds go up that the product is real enough to deserve attention. It is not foolproof, but in an inbox flood, credibility signals count. There is also some scar tissue here from trying basically every email client under the sun over the last 17 years. Apple Mail gets credit for an inbox design people genuinely like, but its search has been a pain point. Mailbox had its moment. Superhuman was fast and slick, but for these hosts it also felt overpriced, and now it has been acquired by Grammarly, which is a sentence that definitely exists in our timeline. Shortwave, Missive, all of these tools bring something, but the real dividing line is transparency and scriptability. If the organization system is clear and agents can hook into it, great. If the system is opaque, especially label-heavy in a way that hides what is really going on, that is a turn-off fast. For all the experimentation, Gmail stays the backbone. And honestly, this part is not glamorous. It wins because the API is robust, the downtime is basically non-existent, and modern AI agents integrate with it deeply. A lot of the wider email tooling ecosystem is effectively built on top of Gmail anyway, whether that is Sanebox, Spark screening, or other workflow layers. So even when people want a better front end, Gmail is still the engine room. That does not mean everyone loves the native Gmail app, though. The opaque label system remains a recurring complaint, especially if you want your organization to be legible and agent-friendly. The interesting prediction is that by 2026 or 2027, somebody could finally build the email client that nails this moment. The wish list is pretty specific: cross-platform sharing, deep AI agent integration, and CLI capabilities in the Spark mold. Basically, people do not just want a prettier inbox, they want an inbox that can be inspected, automated, delegated, and still make sense to a human. If that shows up with transparent organization and without the weird opacity of the native Gmail app, that could be a real opening. Because right now, the market feels oddly unfinished for something everybody uses every day. So yes, the inbox is now a robot traffic jam, and the winning move is apparently better robots plus better taste. That is it for Appletini. Thanks for hanging out, and may your next important email actually make it through. This episode was generated by Podkey. Create your own at podkey.fm.